Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Pastor Bruce. Welcome to my podcast. It is September 6, 2017. I want to thank you for taking the time out to listen. Today I want to talk to you about DACA. Now, President Trump just said, I'm not going to renew DACA. Everybody's up in arms. Oh my gosh, listen to the left-wing propaganda machine out there. And I'm sick and tired of listening to them. I really am. Because if you're intelligent, you understand what's going on. And who the media is talking to, most of the people aren't intelligent enough to understand what's going on. And they've got protest groups out there ready to protest every decision that the president makes. So here's some background for all of you Latinos out there that are complaining about President Trump not renewing DACA. First and foremost, before President Obama did it, somebody mentioned it to him and he said, that is unconstitutional. We can't do that. And then later, just before the election, he signed DACA, executive order, to allow the Dreamers to stay. Okay? That's what happened. So therefore, now look at all the Latinos that flooded the voting booths and voted for Obama because he's taking care of the Latino community. He just said it was unconstitutional a year before. Why then is he doing it? He knew it was unconstitutional. He knew it violated immigration law. He knew it violated several statutes of the U.S. Code. But yet he did it anyway to get the Latino votes. And there was an expiration date on that. Now, open your ears, millennials and Latinos alike, and understand this. An executive order can be ignored. Plain and simple. If people don't want to enforce it, they don't have to enforce it. If they've got a family that's here illegally and the kid's been in school for 8 years, 9 years, they can throw them out of the country because it's an executive order. And now that President Trump refused to extend the executive order, what he's doing is saying, I'm sending it back to Congress. You make the decision on what you want to do. Now, here's a couple of points. It was supposed to be a temporary fix. And Congress was supposed to pass some sort of law to allow DACA to exist. It passed the House. But we have to say thank you, Harry Reid, who was the head of the Senate, the majority leader. Thank you, because that's one of the bills that sat on his desk and he did not allow Congress to vote on. Think about that. Democrats care about you people? No, they don't. Because Harry Reid didn't want you to have that. So he never put it into the Senate for a vote. So we were stuck with the executive order, which basically is just a request by the President of the United States. That's it. Doesn't have to be enforced, but we are respectful of people, so they did. But now that it's over, it expired. President Obama knew that. Eventually would expire out. Not in his term. He signed it specifically so it wouldn't expire in his term, forcing the next president, which they thought was going to be Hillary, to have to deal with this. And what happened? Well, Trump won, so now Trump has to deal with it. And what Trump is saying is that I'm not signing the executive order. I'm not going to continue it. I'm putting it back into Congress, and Congress, you have 6 months to come up with something. Well, if they still have those old bills around that Harry Reid refused to put onto the Senate floor for a vote, maybe they can pull it out, review it, go over it, make the decision to put it out there or not. And if they do, they can vote on it and pass it if not. But now I want you to pay very close attention to this, Latinos and millennials, because it's very important for you to understand this, is that it was a Democrat, Harry Reid, who refused to allow the bill to cover DACA to go to the Senate for a vote. It was a Democrat. Now we're in the boat where the Democrats are no longer the Democratic Party. They are the obstructionist party, and they are going to stop Trump any which way they can. So now Latinos and millennials, if you believe in the DACA, fine, great, believe in it. But now what you have to ask yourself is this. Are the Democrats going to be the obstructionist party and not even try to fix this? Or are they going to work together with the Republicans? Because the Republicans are sitting there saying, President Trump, you're dividing the Republican Party. No, he's not. He's not. They're just ignorant, yellow-backed, bombastic individuals who only care about themselves, just like the Democrats. You do what we tell you to do. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm the president. You do what I tell you to do. And there's the divide. They think that because they've been in there for so long that they can dictate to the president how things are going to be done, and that shouldn't be the way it is. So you have to ask, are the Democrats going to come up with some sort of a bill in the House to facilitate the DACA executive order, to pass it into law so that the dreamers can stay? And then they have to come up with time periods. If someone comes into this country illegally, how long does that child have to be here before he's sent back for being here illegally? A year? You've only been here a year. You're going back to your home country. 5 years. All right, you got your kindergarten out of the way. Go back to your home country. See, that's something that Congress has to make the decision on. How many years can you be here illegally before you're accepted under this DACA? Now, this is from the point of enacting it into law. We're not grandfathering this in. Okay, that's the way it should go from the House and from the Senate. So, millennials, Latinos, if the Democratic Party doesn't do anything to help get this thing passed, then you can see the truth of what the Democratic Party is all about. They don't care about you. They want you to be obstructionist like they are, and they're not going to take care of you. All right? Plain and simple. Now, the other thing is, if you're here illegally, should you be entitled to Social Security? Should you be entitled to food stamps? Should you be entitled to Medicaid? That's a question. Now, if you go back and listen to my health care proposition, everybody pays $100. I don't care if you're here legally or illegally. Everybody pays a basic $100 per person. And if they paid their $100, well, they're covered for their medical expenses. If they're going to work here, they need to have medical. And that $100 plan is something that should go into effect. So, DACA, ladies and gentlemen, it's gone. Dreamers, you're still here. You got 6 more months. And I guarantee you, after the 6 months, if the law isn't enacted, that President Trump is not going to tell you to get out of the country. Especially if you've been here for 18 years and you have no clue of what another country is all about. He's not going to do that to you. Don't believe the left-wing propaganda machine. Don't believe the lying Democrats that are up there in Congress telling you how bad this president is, because he really isn't that bad. He's doing this to help you, to enact the law to protect you. That's the key. So with that, I say thank you for listening to my short podcast here on DACA. Understand that we are a nation of laws. The rule of law is what we abide by. We're supposed to, unless, of course, you think you're a Democrat, then you don't have to abide by the rule of law. But, understand this. Since Trump, illegal immigration is down. Groups like MS-13 are being rounded up and they're being arrested and they're thrown in jail and they're going to be kicked out of country. And it's about time we cleaned up our streets. We want our people, legal and illegal, to be able to walk down the streets in peace, not to fear gangs, gang violence, not to fear getting picked up by the police for being illegal. We shouldn't have to fear that at all. And it is the rhetoric. I was just listening to a black individual calling whites racist, and then you look out in the crowd and there are white people there cheering them on. I mean, come on. How stupid can you get? All right? How stupid can you get? He calls white people racist, and white people are there supporting him. It is the ignorance and the hatred that the Democratic Party and the Democratic leadership promote in this country. And that's why I say to millennials and to Latinos, pay attention to what the Congress does when it comes to DACA. Will they pass that law? And if they didn't, find out who it was that didn't pass it. And if they're coming up for a vote, you let them know. You didn't care about us. We're not going to care about you. And for the yellow-backed Republican Party that refuses to support the president, that supports them, that's trying to make this country great again, hey, if anything, you want to drain the swamp, put a lock on the Capitol building. Tell all of the representatives to go home because they're useless. They're spineless. They're only caring about their own political party, their own agenda, and not the American people. You want to drain the swamp? Kick them out. All right? It sounds like a dictatorship, but maybe you can take a couple of good ones from both sides of the house and allow them to stay and work with them to make this country great. But as an overall picture, there are a lot of people in Congress that don't want anything to do with making changes to the way things are going. And those people need to be rid of, plain and simple. That's my philosophy. I would have done it at the State of the Union. I would have told all of the old-timers, stand up, brought the Marine Corps in, marched them all out, and said, you're all fired. Get out of here. And I don't care if your people elected you into office. You're useless. You're no good. You don't care about the American people. You only care about your political party. And I don't care if they're a Democrat or Republican. Okay? John McCain has won. For 7 years, 8 years, he's talked about how we got to get rid of Obamacare. And when he had the opportunity to do it, he didn't do it. Okay, that's a coward. That's a coward. Not to stand up with your political party and say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do it. And when it came down to it, he turned his back. He turned yellow and went against it and went with the Democrats. What is he really saying? Now, I call him a coward. In politics, he's a coward. As being shot down over Vietnam, okay, I'm that era. All right, I understand. I was in the military, in the Air Force. I had to deal with individuals coming back from Vietnam. I saw the conditions that they were in. And I know that a lot of them were not treated by VA hospitals because why? It wasn't declared a war, people. We got to pass the laws. We got to enforce the laws because we are a nation of laws. We live by the rule of law, both Democrats and Republicans. So it's up to you. Pay attention to what the Democrats do or be ignorant and ignore them. I thank you for listening. God bless. Take care, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.